Hey, thanks for checking out Nuts and Bolts with Tone. Welcome to my channel. Do you have a 6.7 Cummins and you're getting a low coolant message on your dash, but you go look and the coolant bottle is not low? Well, that's because there is a sensor in there and it's built into the bottle, and there is a float in there that tells the sensor whether you have low coolant or not. What happens is these sensors, they fail, or the bottle sticks and the float sticks. And so then it gives you the false effect that you have low coolant. This is very common. So I'm going to show you how to replace that bottle today. It doesn't just come right out. So before we do that, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, you get notified of all my future content, which you definitely don't want to miss. Let me show you how to replace this bottle. Let's get started. You're going to want to pop this off first. So there's a bunch of holes for a bunch of clips that go around the back side. Only bad thing about pulling this off is sometimes they break. I had a couple clips break, and then the bolts, the screws go through here and through the wheel well, and that's what holds this on. And then go ahead and pull your wheel well out. So here's what your wheel well looks like out. So you can see this edge right here tucks under the trim, and there's screws that go all around the perimeter. So all of this tucks under, and then you got a couple screws that go up through here. And then also your ABS speed connector, it's going to clip in right there. So make sure you pop that out first so you don't break it. So you got, once you lift up your airbox, you got a connector right here and a clip holding it on. So make sure you take that out as you pull the airbox off. So to get this off, you're just going to undo that hose clamp down there and pull that clamp back and use a pick tool with a little bit of Seal Glide, slide it around. That hose will come right off. It's really nice hose. And then go ahead and pull this out. It can be a little difficult to get out. When you put this back together, put a little Seal Glide in here in the edge of the hose. It'll slide on easier. And your hose already has a little Seal Glide because we put it in there to get it off. So you're gonna leave it like this until you take your battery out. And when you put your battery back in, you wanna leave it all disconnected to give you more room to get the battery in. But I go ahead and take all this apart like this. Now this has to come off as you lift it up. It can't come out. This can't come out of here until you start to lift it up. But I leave it all disconnected until I'm putting it back together, and then vice versa when I'm taking it apart. So I go ahead and remove all of this to give you all the access. So when you disconnect this stuff, what I like to do is I like to put paint marker. So I kind of mark like this one here, so I know it's going to go there. This one's got green on it, so I know it's going to go there. This one has pink, right, and green. So I kind of do it that way so I know what goes where. And then, so what I did up here was just disconnected both of the cables from the fuse block here. And that way I could have this with the least amount of problems because it goes through the bottle. So go ahead and disconnect both of those. Move all this out of the way, and then we can take the bottle out. And then when you put it back, you know there's no question as to what goes where, because sometimes orientation changes of cables when you move them. And also, sometimes you take it apart and then something happens and you don't put it back together for like a week. So then you just trying to remember how stuff goes. And don't forget, this is the connector that goes underneath your airbox. Once you got all your cables disconnected and out of the way, you're gonna tuck them out of the way. You're gonna have 2 bolts on top, 2 bolts on the sides, and then 2 bolts from underneath. They come up in the wheel well. That's why we had to take the wheel. That's why we had to take the wheel well out, was because of those 2 bolts right there. We're gonna take all those out, and it comes out kind of. You have to kind of drop it back like this, kind of under the bottle, and then finagle it out like this. So a little tricky to get out, a lot easier to go back in. Here's what your battery box looks like off. Your air filter goes here. That's for your air box. You're gonna have bolts here, and bolts there. Actually, these are clip holes right here for your wheel well. So it comes out, kind of tricky to get out. You leave your glow plug relay on, or your intake air heater relay on. Just tuck all your hoses, your lines, your cables away so you can finagle this out. So this clamp right here is also turned around the backside as well. You could just disconnect it here. All I did was grab it with some pliers and I broke it free and I spun it, so I'm able to take the click lock clamp off right here, and then I'll spin it back. So from under here, you want to go ahead and disconnect your connector, draw a line on your hose, and then pop that clamp. You can see I've got this hose clamped in 2 different spots so I don't lose all the coolant. So you're going to go ahead and disconnect that connector, pop that hose, clamp this off, and pull the hose off. So to get this out, you're just going to fish this up. You're going to pop this off of here, and you're going to pop this clip off of here because it's going to stay in here. Okay, we got all this disconnected. So now we can go ahead and connect that hose, and now we can, so this hose right here, it's better if you just pinch off that hose right there with a couple of pinch off pliers, and that way you're not going to leak out all the coolant. Otherwise this thing is going to unload half the coolant from the truck. So this has got the click lock clamp as well, so you can see I have the line. So I'm going to go ahead and lift it up. The reason I marked the hoses is if you can see right there, right above, you can see where this hose is supposed to ride. If you put this clamp on like this, it will leak. So that's why it's easier to just draw the line. Let me show you why I do this. And ever since I started doing this, I haven't had near the problems with hose clamps that I used to have. So now you just slide it up, you make sure it lines up, and now I know this clamp is exactly where it's supposed to be. It's not going to leak. So this hose right here, it's easier to just disconnect it from over here because of your click lock clamp is back here, you can't get to it. So it's best to just disconnect it there. We're going to take it off and put it on the new bottle. So always draw a line on these clamps so they go back exactly where they were, so you don't have to worry about them leaking. So here it is right here. So now I've got it on the new bottle. So this is the cause of your code right here for having, or not a code, or the light low coolant level is right here and inside the bottle. We've tried to replace the sensors before, it just doesn't work. Inside the bottle it has failed, so you're going to be replacing the bottle. And well, we're replacing the bottle, but this is why right here, because of that sensor. So to get this thing out, you got a 10mm nut right there on the firewall right there, and you got 2 10s that go there and right there. We're gonna get, that's how you get it out. Now that I showed you how to replace this bottle, you should feel pretty confident doing this. It's not incredibly difficult. The wheel well is kind of a pain in the butt to get out, but it's not a hard job. You definitely want to buy some click lock clamp pliers. I have a link in my Amazon store for the AST, the Ossenmacher version. The ends swivel so you can put them at all different angles. These are very common for Dodge, Chrysler, Fiat, Mercedes. BMW uses them for power steering lines. They're very common clamps, and they're actually becoming more and more common. Starting to see them in a lot more places. So just get the clamps, the pliers, and do it the right way. Worm drive clamps suck. You don't want to take these clamps off and put worm drive clamps. So now that you've seen this, you should feel confident. Thanks for watching the video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, you get notified of all my future content, which you definitely don't want to miss. And I'll see you next time.